crummy weather outside, and so that makes me want soup. And one of our favorites is French onion soup. I do it vegetarian, so I've got a couple tricks to give it that depth of flavor that everybody loves. First thing you want to know about working with onions is if you're going to do something like a French onion soup, you want to caramelize the onions, and that takes a long time. So I'm going to check in with you every few minutes so we can talk about what's happening. This is 4 cups of raw onions, and I've chopped them into fairly large pieces because that's the way I like them to be in my soup. I really like the way that tastes. And to that, I am going to add a little bit of avocado oil, a couple tablespoons, because avocado oil holds up to high heat, and it also is just for the length of time that I'm going to be cooking it, it's also good. And this is going to be cooked on low heat for like 20 minutes. So my trick is I'm going to roast these vegetables. And I have about a 1/4 cup of diced celery, about the same of carrots, and about a 1/2 cup of mushrooms. And then I've got these wild looking tomatoes that I grew. Take a look at the colors in that. Isn't that amazing? And it tastes really good. These tomatoes took forever to ripen, so they were a real treat now that I'm actually able to use them. So these are going to go in the oven. I've set the temperature for 375, and I'm going to cook them 15 or 20 minutes. So, and then they're going to get cooked separate. So I'll bring you back in a few minutes. 5 minutes in, and the onions, I keep wanting to call them mushrooms. I must have wanted mushroom soup, but we'll have some mushrooms. The onions have begun to sweat, and they've not yet started to soften, but take a look at how shiny they are. And that's not just because of the oil. The cell walls are starting to break down, and the liquid is starting to be released. Our end goal is to caramelize all the sugars, and that's when we've got the nice brown onions. But the next thing that's going to happen is the onions are going to wilt. At this point, if I was making a vegetable soup, this would be a fine time to toss the other vegetables in because the onions take a little bit longer to cook. But for now, we're going to let this keep cooking. Okay, so it's been another 5 minutes and the onions have begun to wilt. So, you can see how much softer they are, and you can see all the liquid that they've released. You can also see the veggies that have come out of the oven. I pulled them out about 5 minutes ago and stirred them, and now they're looking just about where I want them to be. I'm going to put them in a pot, a separate pot, with another of my secrets, which is I like to take pictures of my dogs. That's Bingo and Kelly. I also like to roast garlic and preserve it in the refrigerator in olive oil. And so the olive oil gets solid, but what's inside are some beautiful cloves of garlic. Take a look. So I am going to pull out some already roasted garlic. I'm going to add these veggies to the pot, and I'm going to put about 2 cups of water and a little bit of smoked sea salt in there. And we'll be back. When you're starting to feel like, I don't know, I don't think these onions are ever going to get brown. It has been 20 minutes. They're not quite there yet, but I want to show you that the liquid is disappearing. Oh, I should probably use this. They're just getting a kiss of golden color to them. So they're going to be about another 5 minutes or so. And this little pot of soup is also cooking. There we go. So we'll be back for the final steps. The onions have caramelized to a beautiful golden brown. They're not a dark brown, but they're quite lovely. And we have little bits on the bottom. So now the next thing we're going to do, add a little bit of delicious wine. This is Pinot Noir, my favorite. This one's Migration. It's really good if you can find it. And so this is about a half a cup. Nothing wrong with that. Then I'm going to use a little bit more of the smoked salt. This is called Auntie Arwen's. A really good find. We were in, back before the pandemic, when we used to get to go to little local fairs. We tried their salt and fell in love. But look, this one's like flaked, and this is their mesquite. And this one is a dark, and this one is Old Kentucky Bourbon. So I think Old Kentucky Bourbon is going to go in this. And just a pinch. So that's like, not 2 pinches. That's like less than half a teaspoon, because we really don't want it salty, but we want that smoky flavor. And then I took the vegetables in the broth and ran them through the Vitamix, and they are going in next. And they've made a beautiful broth. Probably could have had a few less carrots because it's kind of golden looking, but that's okay. Baked a loaf of fresh bread, got some wine, got some butter, got some soup. I don't know what else I need, but I'm going to taste this and see what I think. Oh, bliss in a bowl. So the recipe will be on the website, and all you need is a little bit of patience, because that took almost 15 minutes to get those onions where I wanted them to be. But it is well worth it. So give it a try and enjoy.